Okay, it's Monday, November 28th. This is an end of the day SPY recap, and you can see here we start the week with a big red daily bar. And in a second, I'll show you why it was pretty clear that we had a downside bias today that obviously continued down for most of the day and closing near the lows. In terms of targets at the moment, just being a 2 down day from the small day on Friday, we came down and essentially have just filled in this little gap in here. You can see obviously there's a next target here, which I would think the odds are we hit tomorrow because it's a big red bar. We should fall through a little bit. And then this target looks pretty much in play also. In terms of the weekly chart, we are starting with a potential, this is Monday, and we're starting with a red start to the week. So we want to see if we come down and take out this low here, which again, I would think is pretty high probability that we will. But the main thing is, two things here as we go forward. Number one, I've discussed for a while, ever since we couldn't follow through on this big green bar, how we're developing a big trading range in here. And this is kind of a weekly chart. If we go to the daily chart and zoom it out, all this action in here is just kind of choppiness up and down. We've come down a few times, we came up, now we're coming down. So it is just possible we come down here to the bottom of the range, maybe take out the stops, and then eventually head higher. That'll be the key in terms of this entire range that's setting up, which way we break out. For a while, I thought the upside was looking stronger because of just the overall monthly chart here that was going to target these potentially two highs here from the previous months. But now with 2 days to go in the month, it's kind of hard to say, the odds are it looks like we're not going to reach that high unless we have some very strong turnaround day tomorrow that follows through on Wednesday, which is certainly possible. Or even if we head up a little bit in these 2 days, we're going to close with a nice green kind of hammer looking bar that could follow through into December. So I'm not giving up on the month yet, but at the moment, we really want to see now how this weekly chart unfolds relative to, especially these previous 2 weeks. If we just stay in the range here, maybe broaden out, take out some stops and head higher, or do we really fail and then begin to eat into this green bar? So going forward here, what we're looking for is now we have an open to the week, this yellow line here. If I look at today's open on the yellow line, that's the key line to monitor. As long as we stay below that for the rest of the week, we're going to stay negative. We have to get above that to turn this weekly chart green. So keep in mind that we're still inside on this week, even though I'm looking for a little follow through lower given the daily bar tomorrow. We're still just an inside week, and we could possibly turn around tomorrow and keep in mind that yellow line to turn the weekly chart green. So we'll keep an eye on that. In terms of today, just going over the 15-minute chart, I discussed how we really needed to see a strong green bar above the pre-market highs. Those are the blue lines to start. We started that to, first bar up, but then we failed, and kind of paused. We paused for 2 bars and then headed down. And that showed that the bias was to the downside. That was your short trade to take out not only the intraday low, but the pre-market lows. We got down there. That once you take out these areas, that's taking out stops. It's a pretty obvious pause area. It was once you got short in here, that was your first target. Then it was just orderly pause in here. Nothing, kind of, if you look at it, it never really rose above the midway point of that, leg down, and then we moved lower. So at that point, we're going below the blue line, and we went low for the rest of the day, and we closed red. But again, it's just a matter now, are we just in a range here? We're going to expect lower, maybe, and then we'll keep these, each time you break a low, keep these targets in mind. But it's still just a big range, so that could reverse at any time. We're going to look at the midpoint of each bar. As long as we stay below the midpoint of today, then we'll see if the pre-market action brings us lower tomorrow. It is possible we start above the midpoint of the day, and like I said, start higher, take out that yellow line. So each day you're going to have to follow that. I'm personally going to be away for a few days, so that's why I just wanted to kind of give a more of a broader view of what's going on. So the broad view here is expect a little lower tomorrow, know we're in a range, keep an eye on that yellow line to turn possibly the weekly chart up. We want to really see if we get a weekly 2 down. If we do, then we should be taking out that monthly low, which is that the purple line there, that should be the next target. And that, in effect, could turn this monthly chart with 2 days to go maybe slightly red, but it would be kind of a neutral bar. And at that point, we're just going to have to see the opening price on December 1st and kind of judge from there whether we maybe continue up or if that's going to potentially lead to a 2 down month. And we'll have to, that'll be a whole new month to start, developing some expectations. But for now, we're still green a little bit on the month, but we're running out of time to reach our targets. So we're just going day by day. And again, when you go day by day, like today, it was pretty clear to me that if we didn't get that green, start with a follow through on bar 1, which we didn't do, and we just paused and we went lower, then the bias was to the downside. I actually tried a long trade first on Amazon to start with that in mind, and this kind of price action helped me to kind of just take small gains on that trade. And then I went short on Meta, just seeing this kind of price action develop, knowing that the bias in the overall market was short. And if you look at a stock like Meta, you had that reversal bar on the first bar, and then that was a great short trade today. So anyway, that's it for the SPY. Like I said, I'm going to be away for a while, so keep this, keep it in mind, some of these key levels, and know that we're running out of time on the month. Daily chart should go a little lower. But let's watch to see, how the weekly bar kind of forms relative to this 3-bar range that's forming now. At any point, you can just move to the bottom and start back up, or are we going to get momentum, that really can break through that and start eating into this green bar to the downside? If that happens, then this might have been the high of the entire move that started back here. So it'll be choppy for now. That's what it's been for the last 3 weeks, but there's still some good trades when you kind of watch the pre-market action. As always, get your highs and lows, see how the opening bars either move above or below those areas, and that kind of guides you to what's developing structurally intraday. And we'll expect follow through lower tomorrow, but we'll just see if a little momentum can pick up towards the these lows or not.